Hello everybody, welcome to the course of Customer Relationship Management. This is Dr. Shagata Chatterjee from VG Somayati Kharagpur who is taking this course. We are in week 2 and in this particular week we will be discussing about building customer relationship. So, in the last video I was discussing about how data can be used in customer relationship management. And I also discussed about various sources of data. I have asked you to put some things into the forum. I will also ask you that I have given some reading materials, some articles that I have collected from the internet. You can read them also to get an idea that how Swiggy is trying to help themselves and how data can be used and etc. In this particular video, I will be focusing on the various stages of customer relationship management and how marketers can take various decisions in these various steps or various stages. So, this is something that we call as the ladder of loyalty. So, what is the ladder of loyalty? So, the first step of a customer, so you just think about, again, every time when I talk about customer relationship management, relationship is the human relationship becomes very important. And you can see that exactly the same steps can be applied in the human relationship also. Let us try to see that you are looking for your girlfriend or boyfriend or spouse or somebody who are going a partner, a marriage partner or something. So, how do you do that? How do you find out? So, the first thing generally, if it is not something where the love is made in the heaven or something like that, the first step is prospecting. You try to find out what are the prospects that are there. So, again in the context of customer relationship management, the first step is prospect. You have to find out the prospects that are there, who are lying around in the market, who might be your customer, who might be somebody else's customer. So, then the next step is to change from this prospecting to making them customer. Now, majorly this part is something that the sales guys does. But what the sales guys do not do is, the sales guys are very generally, we train the sales people to be very transaction oriented, because you have this budget, you have this target and you have to achieve that target. So, when and your first year's target has no relationship with your second year's target, that is how the training goes. But in B2B that does not happen. There are some customers who are stable customers whom you have to keep the relationship even if you are a salesperson. Even if you have to meet a target, the relationship management is very important. And sometimes relationship starts from the prospecting itself. How much effort, frankly speaking, that how much effort you have given before I gave you the business sometimes becomes a very important factor, that how much business I will give you even if I become your customer. So, that has a lot to say, that has I would say lots of contribution on the longevity of a relationship, that how much effort you do in the very first day. So, prospecting to customer, the sales guys also have certain kind of customer relationship management to do. So, one of the classic thing is that data generation. At the least they can do is to create information about the prospective customer. Now, out of the 100 customers, let us say 90 goes away and then 10 comes, but for those 10 customers you have information before the purchasing context started also, which helps. Then you make them customer. From customer, a customer becomes a client when multiple conversations happen, multiple transaction happens between one customer and a service provider or a manufacturer. In that context, we call them a client. So, who is a client? I have a client, that means that I have multiple, I am actually giving multiple services to them. It is not one time transaction that is happening, there are multiple transactions that are happening with a client. Then the next step is, from the client you make a supporter. So, who is a supporter? A supporter will be trying to support in your steps that you take, whatever decisions that you take as a customer, as a service provider, as a company, he will actually support you. He will not talk loud about you outside, but if you ask him that, why please will you give me a review? Yes, he will give. You will ask him, will you post about me in LinkedIn? He will post, but he will not do it on his own. So that is something that a supporter does. A supporter will come for help only when the help is sought. Then comes the advocate. The advocate will give you ideas, he will help you on his own. So from supporter to advocate, the relationship is self-driven by the customer. The customer wants to help you, the customer wants to give you data, the customer wants to talk good about you in front of other customers. That is the person who is an advocate. A supporter is when you seek, he will do. An advocate is whether you seek or not, he will do. And then the partner is another customer who is not different from your company. So as of now, till the advocate part, I will help you on my own. Let's say I am a customer, you are the service provider. I will help you on my own. You don't have to ask me. I will help you on my own, but this I and you is still there. I am a different person, you are a different company, and I am going to help you by talking good about you, by putting good reviews, by more purchasing from you, by not purchasing from your competitor, and blah blah blah. But when I become a partner, I am you. So I am a part of you. So that is the level that we try to achieve. So it's like you get the moksha. So means you make the customers to get the moksha, something like that. So these two persons, the company and the organization, merges with each other. That is something is the. So what happens when I can make a customer a partner? Because up to this level we have seen all of these things. We have seen a prospect, we have seen a customer, we have seen a client, we have seen supporter. When you ask for reviews, somebody gives you recommendations, reviews. We have seen that in a B2B context, that is pretty common. The advocate is somebody who talks about you on his own. What does a partner do? A partner co-creates. A partner is somebody who will drive you, will hold your hand and probably face all the goodness and badness along with you. So his identity and the company's identity is very much related. It is a high overlap between them. So that is something that we call as partner. So when we talk about these relationships, the partnerships, the bondings, there are different kinds of bondings that comes into this picture. And all these bondings also acts as the barriers when we talk about customer relationship management. So barriers in terms of switching. So all these bonding. So what is a bonding? A bonding is something which is a tie between two products, or let's say two objects. If they are binded, that means there is a tie. What is the job of this tie? What these two things do? When I put this thing, this bending is making sure that these two objects cannot go away with each other. So this is something which saves you from getting detached. That is something which is called a bonding. A bonding is a tie whose goal is to stop you from getting detached. Similarly here, the bonding are those kind of stuff whose job is to make sure that the customer do not switch or customer stays with you. So the bondings are basically the barriers of customer switching. And what kind of barriers are there? What kind of bondings are there? The bondings are, the first one is financial bonding or financial barrier, I would say. What is a financial barrier? A financial barrier or financial bonding is that I would say these. So when you generate economic advantage from a particular bonding, that is called a financial bonding. So by being in that relationship, you are getting certain, the customers are getting certain economic advantage. For example, a classic way is, let us say, we say that okay, if you renew this particular thing, oftentimes when in the initial part, the companies, whenever you try to come into, let us say, Vodafone gives you certain kind of offers, like they have given me Amazon Prime free for 1 year. Now, if I want to switch from Vodafone to somebody else within that 1 year, let us say after 2 months, 3 months, I want to switch. The moment I switch, that particular activity with let us say Prime may go away, because they have given it for free. I have not stayed for 1 year. So, that is a financial benefit that I am getting, which will be only existing as long as the relationship is there. So, that is a financial bonding. Is it good? Is it strong enough? Does it stop people from switching? Sometimes, sometimes not. Depends on how much important, how much strong this bond is, and how much important this kind of bonding towards the customer is. So, the strength and the weight of that strength in the eye of the customer, these two things will lead to whether that is good enough or not. Then the next one, which is also sometimes becomes prohibitory, is something called the structural bonding. So, what is a structural bonding? A structural bonding is basically a bonding between a customer and a client, which is and a service provider, which is connected through some structure, sometimes some legal laws, or sometimes some I would say contracts. So, there is a structure of this relationship. This relationship will start from this year, prolong till this year. If you want to break this relationship in between that, so for example, marriage register. So, there is a structure behind that. So, if you want to break it, there is a procedure, there is some fees that you have to pay, there is some damages that you have to pay whoever breaks. There are some other conditions where the breaking will not have any damage, blah blah blah. So, all these details are written. The relationship is structured. So, have you seen Big Bang Theory? So, those who have seen Big Bang Theory will obviously remember Sheldon, and Sheldon used to have his relationships which are structured. So, everything has a rule. Similarly, we have that kind of things in many B2B relationships. We have that kind of thing, because they have to, the B2B guys have to protect their companies, I would say goodwill, or sometimes companies interests, because these relationships have huge value in them. They create huge monetary benefits for both the companies. Now, if one company go away, that will create a huge opportunity loss for the other company. For that, this structural kind of bondings comes up. Again, whether that is good enough, strong enough, depending on how strong the bonding is. But what is more, now we are bringing in a little bit from the huge scale to the small scale. Now, I am calling something called social bonding and customization. Customization is very personal towards the customer. So, where I have customized the services for you over time. So, for example, why do I prefer Netflix over somebody else, let us say Prime Video or Zoom or the Voot or somebody else? Because I have spent lots of time in Netflix, and Netflix has understood my pattern, and then Netflix is finding out lots of videos. Netflix has huge repository of videos also. They are finding out lots of videos from here and there and putting it in my front page. So, these recommendation engines that this particular guy has created is based on the data that I have given him. But why I want to still give Netflix a thumbs up is because now with that data he is creating such an experience for me that I don't want to switch. Now, Netflix is just an example. It might be some other company for some other person. So, when you get very much attached to that personalized experience that is being given by these firms towards you, which is only made for you, you don't want to switch. So, that is also one kind of bonding which is very much personal. And then there is another called is social bonding. For example, let's say so I was I am the person of that time when Orkut was there. So when we were college students in my BTech times, Orkut was very heavy. And then in the last 1 year, let's say third year, we are in the third year or sometime like that, or fourth year, when Facebook was coming in the market. Now, for a very long time, I thought that I will not go to the Facebook. What is there in Facebook? Why so many accounts? All my friends are in Orkut. We talk in Orkut. We chat in Orkut. I have so much. So there were some recommendations at that time. If you know, those who are of my age or a little bit older will know that Orkut profiles has lots of recommendations from your friend, that this is this guy. So that how the friends perceive about you, that those kind of recommendations were written. And we wrote very fabulous, I actually got very fabulous recommendations, because I used to also give pretty good recommendations to my friends who can write well. So that was an asset. I thought that, okay, this is my image, this is me, or at least this is how I want to pose me in the social media. Now, if I move from Orkut to Facebook, all of these things are lost. All these assets that I have generated, which is basically a social asset, a social capital, you can say, though it does not create money, but social, I don't know, social capital in the context of social media, which I have created, will be lost if I move to Facebook. So for very long time, I didn't want to move to Facebook. And then at one point of time, I thought, okay, I have to try. So that's the prospecting part. They were putting me, and I was getting stuck with Orkut because of this social bonding that I have created with Orkut. And then one point of time, from being prospect, I became a customer. In this case, a user. And from user, I became a client. And slowly I moved everything from Orkut to Facebook, because I found, so I personally, if you go to my profile by chance, I have some albums which is Orkut albums. So the name of the albums is Orkut albums, and the good pictures of Orkuts were downloaded and again put back in the Facebook. So they were transferred from there to here. So all I am trying to say here is that social bonding is a very important bonding. If I ask you, those who use Snapchat, why do you use Snapchat? Those who use WhatsApp, why do you use WhatsApp? Why not the other one? Why the Snapchat guys don't use the WhatsApp and the WhatsApp guys don't use the Snapchat? You will know that your generation, the people who want to talk with you, are there in the respective platforms. The younger generations are in Snapchat, the older generations are in WhatsApp, and because my social connections are there in these platforms, I want to be also there in this platform. So oftentimes we try to create this social bonding within the network, within the platform, so that the switching does not happen. So the idea is that if you got a customer with you, get his friends also. The more friends you get inside that particular network, the whole group will stay. So that is something that that companies can take an approach. So it has been seen that the net profit value also goes up, the net NPV also goes up. So profit from one customer also goes up as the customer defection rate also comes down. You see, as the years goes from 2 year to 2.5 year to 3 year to 5 year to 10 year to 20 year, this curve also goes up. It's actually a linear curve because your x-axis is not linear. So that's why it is taking that kind of. So it's a linear curve. The NPV goes up, and also the defection rate comes down. So that is something is very important to understand. So the defection rate comes down. That is why the NPV goes up. Defection means switching, the changing. So why? What are the various reasons for which people switch? I told you till now that why people will not switch. What are the various strategies that you can take to make sure that the customers will not switch. Now, I am asking that what are the various reasons for which they switch. So, one big reason, which is this black part, the huge black part, 69 and 14%, it's taken from a book, and that color difference is not being visible properly. But the 69% and 14%, if I add up, 83% is because of product dissatisfaction. So, you will know that 69%, the majority percent, is because of the perceived indifference. Indifference of whom? Indifference of the product seller or the service seller. So, majorly people switch because you are indifferent about the customer, not because they are dissatisfied, not because of competition, not because of others' friendship or moving away from that particular place to another place, but the customer, the company had been indifferent. So, when that indifference becomes very huge, customers wants to switch. That is one of the biggest predictors. And what are the various kinds of other reasons, like what are the different types of defectors that I can say? One is price defectors, product, service, market, technology, and organizational defectors. So, price difference is one of the major thing based on which people switch. Next is the product. So, if I get a better product from my customer in the same price from the competitor, then I will switch to the competitor rather than the service provider. So, that is also one thing. Then services defector. Service means the product is good, but your service is very bad. That might also lead to certain kind of switching from one service provider to other. The market defector, sometimes we shift from the market itself. So, I have not remained your customer. Classic applies in the life cycle stage. So, let us say I will not remain a customer of the restaurant in this particular place, or let us say even there is a canteen, okay, there is a canteen in IIT Kharagpur. I am not anymore a major customer of this particular IIT of that canteen, because I have changed. When I was a student, I used to go to that canteen a lot. When I become a professor, I will not go to that particular canteen anymore, because my market, I am in a different market right now. I am not in the student market. I have hygiene concerns. I can pay a little bit more than the students. I need very quick service, very personalized service. I don't want to wait and chit chat and spend a lot of time in that canteen, while the students will be happy to do that. So, I am in a different market right now, and that is why I switched probably. So, that is called market defectors. Then technology defectors, I can switch to a different technology altogether, and organizational defectors, I can switch to the whole organization can switch to a different organization. So, these are the major 6 types of defectors, and we can create strategies for each of them. So, in the next video, I will discuss about what are the various kinds of retention strategies that we can take. Till now, we were discussing about what are the various reasons people go away and how you can keep them, what is the importance of keeping them and why they go away. In the next video, we will discuss about how you can retain them, what are the various strategies that you can take to make sure that they do not go away. Thank you very much for being with me in this particular video. I will see you in the next one.